Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
The House Infracrom is set to open today its own inquiry into the alleged anomalies in flood control projects.
Senators grilled flood control project contractors as the Blue Ribbon hearing resumed.
New DPWH Chief Vince Dizon vows to purge the agency, ordering resignations and lifetime ban on some contractors.
The House Committee on Games and Amusement is holding an organizational meeting on online gambling today, September 2. Now, senators grilled top contractors as they continue their probe into alleged anomalies in flood control projects. Here's the report.
As the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee continued its probe into alleged anomalies in flood control projects, several contractors faced lawmakers. One of those grilled was Sara Diskaya, owner of Alpha and Omega, ranked second among firms with the most flood control projects nationwide. She was questioned not only about her company's contracts, but also about her wealth, including a fleet of luxury cars.
Saan nyo ba kinukuha yung mga kotseng imported, mga luxury cars? Ang balita ko, dun sa interview mo, binili mo yung isang Rolls Royce dahil nagandahan ka sa payong. Tama ba?
Sir, yes po.
Samantalang, ilan yung luxury cars mo?
Nasa 28 po. Senators
expressed disbelief at her lifestyle.
Sino-sino gumagamit itong mga luxury cars ninyo?
Kami po.
Everyday,
Iba-iba.
Siguro sa pag-aalis kayo nung umaga, Rolls Royce ang gamit mo. Pag uwi mo ng tanghali, kakain, pag lalabas kayo, may back naman ang gamit. Ganun ba yun? Sa dami nyo ng kotse. This is really, for me or for all of us, for all the Filipino people watching, this is unbelievable. To have 28 or 40 luxury cars at your disposal. Ngayon lang ako nakarinig na isang tao o mag-asawa na ganito kadami ang kotse na mamahalin. Tapos pera ng gobyerno. Ano ba? Nasaan ang konsyensya nyo, madam?
Lawmakers then pressed Diskaya on when she began earning such vast sums. In a past interview, she claimed her life improved after winning contracts with the Department of Public Works and Highways. But at the hearing, she clarified that her firms had been in the construction industry for 23 years, not only under DPWH, but also through LGUs. She admitted, however, that her companies began securing flood control projects in 2016 during the Duterte administration.
Kailan kayo nag-engage ng flood control project sa DPWH?
Siguro mga 2016 onwards.
Please make sure of your answer. 2016?
Yes po, 2016 onwards po.
2016 onwards?
Yes po.
2016 onwards.
St. Gerard, Alpha and Omega, we have been in the construction business for 23 years. So I would presume na in the 23 years, pwede naman siguro kami po kumita. Yung billion, when I said DPWH, because prior to that, we were in local government. So ang hirap makasingil sa local government. They spliced the video that was taken of me and just mentioned the DPWH. So contractor na po kami for 23 years.
Meanwhile, Senator Bongo distanced himself from his father's company, CLTG Builders, which once partnered with Diskaya.
Kung meron pong pagkukulang o deficiencies or mali, ako mismo po ang magre-rekomenda sa committee ito na kasuhan kayo kahit kasama ang kamag-anak ko.
From 2022 to 2025, Diskaya's firms reportedly won around 400 projects nationwide. She denied involvement in ghost projects. Still, senators raised suspicions of preferential treatment, pointing out that her 9 construction companies often won bids and sometimes even competed against one another.
Nakakapagtaka dahil yung siyam na construction companies niyo, yun ang laging favored, kumbaga, sa bidding. Kasi ang balita ko, isa kayo sa mga una nakakita at nakakapili ng mga projects. Bago pa mabuo ang National Expenditure Program, yung tinatawag natin na NEP. Parang menu lang sa restaurant na nakaka-order kayo kaagad. Sino ang point person nyo sa DPWH na nagbibigay sa inyo ng informasyon na ito, o para sa inyo, ito para sa kanya? Sino?
Sir, wala po akong nakakausap po.
Wala kang kilala sa DPWH?
Wala po.
Hindi kami maniniwala niyan, wala kayong kilala sa DPWH.
Diskaya also admitted that she is a part owner of 9 construction companies that secured government projects. At first, she claimed she had already divested from those firms and was only focused on Alpha and Omega. But it later turned out that she was still the chief financial officer of those companies.
Bakit po ikaw ang CFO pa rin kung nag-divest na po kayo, official pa rin po kayo dyan?
Tumutulong lang po ako dun sa mga ibang companies po.
So you haven't, with the permission, you haven't completely divested all your interests. So you didn't divest totally. You're still the CFO according to you.
Opo.
Sagot po dyan, Senate Pro Temp, nagbibiding-bidingan.
Other contractors were also questioned. Mark Alan Arevalo, owner of Wawaw Builders, ranked 12th among top recipients of flood control projects, invoked his right against self-incrimination when asked about alleged ghost projects in Bulacan.
Your Honor, I invoke my right against self-incrimination, Your Honor.
Anak ng patingo. Tinatanong ko, how can my question incriminate you? Tell me. Tinatanong ko lang saan yung proyekto mo. I invoke my right against self-incrimination?
Sorry po, Your Honor.
Arevalo later apologized, narrowly avoiding contempt. Meanwhile, Marjorie Samidan, owner of MG Samidan Construction, which reportedly had only 250,000 pesos in capital but bagged 5 billion pesos worth of flood control projects, denied involvement in ghost projects. The truth behind the so-called flood control scam is beginning to surface, but more remains to be uncovered. To this day, it's still unclear who truly profited while ordinary Filipinos continue to suffer in floods.
Newly appointed Public Works and Highways Secretary Vince Dizon orders all DPWH officials to resign from their posts. Dizon stressed that defective flood control projects could not have happened without collusion inside the agency.
Ang unang-una ko pong order na igagabas ay ang pag-order ng courtesy resignations top to bottom. USEC, ASEC, Division Head, Regional Director hanggang District Engineer ng buong bansa. Yan po ang unang-unang order na gustong ipagabas ng ating Pangulo.
The new Public Works Chief also announced that DPWH will impose a lifetime ban on contractors involved in ghost projects. Dizon took over the agency, replacing Manuel Bonoan, who resigned amid various anomalies on flood control projects.
Kapag ang isang project ng isang contractor ay ghost o napatunayang substandard, wala na po itong proseso, wala nang investigasyon, automatic po blacklisted for life. I'm sure there is a solution to this. We just have to find it and we just have to do everything we can with the help of everybody to solve it.
Now, House Tri-Panel Infrastructure Committee, or Infracom, has begun its own probe into the alleged anomalies in the government's flood projects. This despite criticisms on the chamber's credibility, with some House lawmakers themselves being linked to the controversy. Let's listen in.
On matters involving the duties, responsibilities, and integrity of the House of Representatives. So I was only reacting to that. If this will be the matter that included, I would be willing to explain this.
I think the specific matter is the privilege speech number 23. So I don't think it's about the remarks that you had made relating to that article, Congressman.
So kung privilege speech, the privilege speech was about automatic appropriation. No. As I have said, if this committee would like to take cognizance of that automatic appropriations issue, which is also important, I would be very much willing to explain and answer all the questions. However, I would request that it be taken not this hearing, because it will take a long time for me to present, perhaps in the next hearing, and we can rank it number 1 or number 2.
Yes, it will not be today, Congressman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's my parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Congressman Jokno, please.
Thank you, Chair. Rule 9, Section 33 of the Rules of the House, as well as Section 9 of the Internal Rules, Committee on Public Accounts, provides that, I quote, a member of a committee shall not participate in committee deliberations or vote on any matter that directly or indirectly affects the member's business, financial, or pecuniary interest. These rules are in line with Section 9 of Republic Act 6713, Code of Conduct of Public Officials, which provide that a public official or employee shall avoid conflicts of interest at all times. These rules are also aligned with Article 6, Section 12 of our Constitution, which requires all members of the House to make a full disclosure of their business and financial interests to avoid conflict of interest. A few weeks ago, Mr. Chair, Senator Panfilo Lacson publicly stated that there were at least 67 members of the House of Representatives during the 19th Congress who were operating construction businesses that bagged projects that they themselves had allocated funding for. And I quote, noong 2022, pagsimulan ng new Congress noon, natanong ko ang isang kaibigan kong congressman kasi curious ako bagong bukas ang Kongreso. Ilan ba ka ako sa bilang mo, ilan ang contractor dyan sa batasan? Sabi niya, huling bilang ko sa ngayon 67. Pero alam ko meron pang iba. So noon, 67 na as of 3 years ago. Siguro ngayon, ang iba, naengganyo, mag-contractor na lang tayo. O kaya, kamag-anak ang mag-handle ng kumpanya ng kanyang construction company para makamenos sila. Given this revelation, Mr. Chair, by Senator Lacson, I believe we need to assure the public that this investigation will not be a whitewash and that no members of the 3 committees conducting this investigation have a conflict of interest. I therefore move, Mr. Chair, that before we proceed any further this joint hearing, all the members of the Committees on Public Accounts, Public Works and Highways, and Good Government and Public Accountability make a full disclosure of their financial, business, or pecuniary interest that may be directly or indirectly affected by any investigation into the government's past or present flood control project. So move, Mr.
Mr. Chair, before we motion, I'm motion of the I'm intervention. The point of order raised by Representative. It is very clear in the Constitution, even in the rule, that there has to be disclosure of any possible conflict of any interest in business interest, financial interest of any member of this group. But I am more fundamental, if I may, something like it's prejudicial. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Dear colleagues, during the plenary session last August 145, which authorized the Committees on Public Accounts, Government and Public Accountability, and Public Works and Highway, conduct a joint inquiry into infrastructure projects, particularly flood control projects, was adopted over this representation. In a viva voce voting, the ayes prevailed. This representation now reiterates for the record, for opposition, plain terms, I object to the House itself investigating very significant and very sensitive. When the House of Representatives investigates anomalies in flood control projects, must ask, is it one? Is it proof? Is it proper for this chamber to investigate when there are already reports that some members here are involved in this very project? By Representative Jokno, Saiti, Lacson. I have raised this before, and I repeat today. Conflict of interest here is not theoretical. It is not distant. It is real, and it will shape how this inquiry is seen or perceived, especially by the public. Where one is most probably the subject of or is likely and liable to be a suspect, or has a personal interest of not being punished himself as an outcome of the investigation, not be part of the investigation. The most basic principle.
Go ahead.
All right. What you just saw is the ongoing House Infracom probe into the anomalous flood control projects. Yeah, in the House of Representatives, as I've said earlier. And that was Congresswoman Laila De Lima.
And before Congresswoman Laila De Lima, you heard also Congressman Chel Jokno. Dati alyado yung dalawang yan eh. Ngayon, di ba, si Chel is with Akbayan and Congressman Laila is with ML. And before that, you heard
magka-party, ibig mo sabihin. Pero ngayon, different party na sila.
And then you heard also Congressman Terry Ridon kanina.
Yan ikaka-start pa lang. So wala pa tayong masyadong information.
Puro point of
we'll get back to it later.
Yeah.
And we'll see kung anong kakahinatnan ng mga investigation. And if I'm not mistaken, former DPWH Secretary Manny Banon was already there.
Yes.
Was already there in the probe sa House of Representatives and other resource person na tatanungin nila regarding the issue. But for now, the Bureau of Customs is currently raiding the St. Gerard construction compound owned by the Discayas in Pasig City. For updates, we have Mobile Journal Kyla Macantan joining us via Zoom, who's on the ground as we speak. Hi Kyla, ano na nangyari dyan? Na-serve na ba yung search warrant?
Angela, Diego, kanina mga bandang 8:20 daw nung pinasok na ng BOC etong St. Gerard company ng mga Discaya kasi ayon sa pagtatanong natin kagabi pa nung nagpunta sila dito at sinubukan nga nila makipasok kasi gusto nga nila na maging diplomatic pero wala daw sumasagot, ayaw silang papasukin maging ng mga security dahil lang sinasabi inaantay daw yung kanilang mga lawyer at gusto sana na makapag-antay muna mula dito sa pamunuan ng St. Gerard kung sila ay papatuloyin. Pero kaninang umaga di na nga nakapag-antay at tuloy-tuloy na nga nilang pinasok ito lugar. Pero mapayapa naman yung kanilang magpasok at inaasahan na pupunta nga si Commissioner Nepomuceno mamaya. At dito natin makukumpirma yung kaugnay dito nga sa kanilang mga pag-aaring sasakyan kung ito ba talaga ay mga smuggled. At sa ngayon, Angela Diego, nandoon sa loob ang BOC, HPG at ang PNP Pasig. Angela.
So Kyla, ano yung goal nitong raid nito? Is to inspect the actual vehicles kung smuggled o hindi? Kasi may mga nagsasabi naman, they can do that from the paperwork mismo. Tignan nila yung make and model. Kung walang importation documents, illegal na kaagad. So ngayon din ba makikita natin kung may confiscation mangyari?
Yes, yan ang inaasahan natin, Diego. Bukod sa makumpirma natin ito nga mga sasakyan, kung smuggled ba, syempre titignan kung ano ba yung gagawin dito kasi may mga narinig tayo na posibleng mahila ito ngayong araw. Pero syempre yan, makukumpirma lang kung mula sa BOC mismo yung magsasabi. At nakaantabay lang tayo kung ano ba talaga yung iba pang kaganapan na mangyayari. Sa ngayon kasi wala pang ibang pumapasok, bukod nga dito sa BOC at sa PNP at medyo mailap din sila sa media. Medyo pinapaalis tayo at pinapalipat tayo ng pwesto pero syempre sinusubukan natin ang ating mga kaya para masilip talaga kung ano ba yung real-time na kaganapan doon sa loob. At sana mamaya magkaroon tayo ng pagkakataon na mapasok para malaman talaga natin kung ano ba yung mangyayari pa, kahihinatnan itong investigasyon.
Go ahead.
No. While you were talking kasi, Kyla, may pinapakita kami ditong video. Galing naman yun sa Bureau of Customs. Mabilis lang itong video na ito. Pinapakita yung loob, pero hindi pa natin nakikita in that video yung mismong luxury cars na nakita natin noon sa mga video, sa mga vlogs ng mga Discaya, mga vlogs about the Discaya. So, yun nga. So, hopefully, makapasok kayo dyan, makakuha kayo ng iba pang impormasyon. But ang tanong ko, Kyla, nandiyan ba yung Discaya couple or kahit isa man lang sa kanila? At would you know also yung impormasyon kung sino yung nag-receive ng search warrant na inihain ng BOC?
Oo, yan ang katanungan naming lahat na nandito sa labas, no? Kung nandito ba sa loob yung mga diskaya at kung sino man sa kanila yung nandito dahil simula kagabi, narinig din natin mula doon sa mga kagabi pa na nag-aantay dito sa labas, wala talagang lumalabas at walang pumapasok. So kanina nung pumasok yung BOC, yung gwardiya lang yung nakaharap. So yun na yung nagpatuloy sa kanila. Pero sabi nga natin, no, medyo alanganin yung mga nasa loob. Ayaw talaga nila na magpatuloy sana. Pero dahil nga kahagabi pa, sinusubukan na makipag-usap ng maayos para makapasok, napilitan na silang pasukin na ngayong umaga.
Kayla, i-clarify ko lang, no, kasi kahapon sa hearing, sinabi ni Sara Diskaya, of the 40 cars, 28 yung personal, 12 is yung sa company cars, no? So yung pinuntahan ngayon dyan ng BOC, is it the 12 lang? Kasi I'd suppose yung 28 nasa bahay ni Sara yon.
Ang naririnig-rinig natin, Diego, no, kasi hindi natin napasok pa at wala tayong nakuha information mula sa BOC mismo kaugnay dyan sa mga sasakyan. Pero nung nagtanong-tanong tayo sa ilang residente kung nasilip na ba nila sa loob, sabi nila nandito daw lahat ng sasakyan. Yun yung ayon sa kanila, no? Pero syempre, hindi natin nakita pa kaya hindi natin makumpirma kung andito nga talaga yung mga sasakyan.
Okay, sige. We'll get back to you na lang, Kayla, pag meron ka ng mas konkretong impormasyon para ma-share sa amin dito and of course sa viewers natin. For the meantime, maraming salamat, Mobile Journal Kayla Macantan. Si Kayla, ating Mobile Journal, ay nasa Pasig, di ba? Kung saan
St. Gerard
yung St. Gerard Construction Firm na yun nga sinasabi natin, most probably, nandoon daw kasi nakapark yung
doon
mga
ginarahin
sasakyan, yung
supposedly.
mga luxury cars.
Kasi kaya ko lang natanong dahil sinabi ni Sara Diskaya, of the 40 plus cars, yung 28 lang yung sa kanya. The rest daw is sa company car, kumbaga. Pero all of them are luxury cars. It's just siguro yung titulo ng remaining 12 or 13 is under the company name.
Yung pinambili yung company money, parang ganon. Oh well, so that is a development today. We all know naman yesterday, Sara Diskaya, the owner of Timothy Construction and other construction firms na discovered din natin during the hearing, was there nga sa hearing yesterday na isa sa mga nag-grill na mga senador. Okay, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. So follow up lang natin dun sa nagaganap na
raid or inspection on pagsilbi ng search warrant sa office ng St. Gerard.
Sabi nila dito, according to BOC, no, 2 lang sa 12 luxury cars na sakop ng search warrant ng Bureau of Customs ang nakita sa bahay ng pamilya Diskaya.
Yan kasi lilinaw
bahay?
No, this is St. Gerard.
Okay, St. Gerard.
Kasi ang question ko kay Kayla kanina was, yung search warrant ba, was it applicable to all 40 or 28 or yung 12? Kasi di ba lininaw ni Sara, yung 28 is personal, yung 12 is the office. So the search warrant is only covered sa 12, which are the company cars, kaya sa St. Gerard pumunta.
Yes.
And sa 12, ilan daw nakita, Angel?
2 sa 12. No? Ang mga sasakyan na po na tinitingnan nila, yung Cadillac, yung Escalade, isang Toyota, tapos yung Sequoia, yung Rolls-Royce, yan. At saka Mercedes, no? Ito pa. At saka yung dalawang Mercedes, AMG, G63, at saka yung G500. Yan po ay saad po ni Attorney Casipit sa panayam po doon sa programa nila Manong Ted Filon at DJ Chacha sa True FM. So, isa pong Toyota Tundra pickup, isa pong L3 3.3 V6, Lincoln Navigator.
Hindi to L300, LC300.
Okay, LC300. Maserati Levante Modena, tama ba yun?
Modena.
Yan daw po yung mga tinitignan nila. Okay, pero doon nga ngayon, as we speak, may nagaganap po na naghain po ng search warrant ng BOC sa mismong opisina ng St. Gerard.
Kaya pala sa St. Gerard ang punta nila.
Yan po ay sa Barangay Bambang, Pasig City.
Kaya sa St. Gerard ang punta nila is they're taking a look at the 12 na binanggit ni Sara na under the company name. So hindi pa ito po yung 28 supposedly na personal car. I suppose yun, nasa bahay nila
Yes,
yun.
and for context lang din, yung St. Gerard Construction General Contractor and Development Corporation na po yan, isa sa mga firm na ang pagmamay-ari po ng mga Diskaya, no, ng Diskaya, si Sarah at si Curly, na nalilink nga po dito sa mga anomalous flood control projects. So, we will get back to Kyla later on para makita kung meron ng development pa doon sa nangyayari doon sa area na yon, and we'll see kung ano pa yung mga information that she can give us no, at this point. But for the meantime, let's go back po dito sa House Infracom's investigation into the alleged anomalous flood control projects na ginagawa po ngayon nga dyan sa House of Representatives. Let's take a look at what's happening right now at the lower chamber.
This investigation is just maybe prudence would require that all members of this committee participating in this proceeding should at least if they know that they have a conflict of interest, at least siguro wag na sila mag-participate. Para po sa ganon, may maging credible naman itong ating. We know for a fact that several representatives are also officers, or maybe their relatives, immediate relatives are contractors. Saka siguro po, pwede natin pakiusapan na huwag na sila mag-participate yung mga may interest sa government contracts para sa maging credible naman po itong ating proceedings.
Can we, Congressman Jokno, can we restate the motion that you have been mentioning?
The motion, Mr. Chair, for all the members of the three committees to make a full disclosure of their financial, business, and pecuniary interests that may be directly or indirectly affected by any investigation into the government's past or present flood control project.
This has been seconded.
Second, Mr. Chair. Second here, Mr. Chair. May I explain my my second to the motion of Honorable Jokno?
Just a short explanation, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As a member of the majority, Chair, in the interest of upholding the integrity of our proceedings, I respectfully seconded the motion of Honorable Shell Jokno that any member who may have a direct or indirect interest in the subject matter should inhibit themselves from participating in this deliberation.
Mr. Chairman.
This is not. Excuse me po.
Sir, last point lang. I suggest that since we are now entertaining a motion, the Honorable Jokno first withdraw his point of order para ma-entertain natin yung motion. Just to interject, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Patuloy po kayo. Pero yung sa akin, suggestion ko, the Honorable Jokno will withdraw his point of order para diretso tayo sa motion. If mag-agree ang chair.
May I finish my... This is not to cast doubt on anyone's integrity, but rather protect the impartiality of the committee and avoid perception of bias. Our duty is to ensure that the decisions are made solely on the merits of the issues before us, free from any conflict of interest. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman. Can you restate the point of order, please? I think it has been transformed into a motion.
Mr. Chair, very quick interjection, Mr. Chair. I believe earlier it was a point of order, but later on the Honorable Shell Jokno amended it as a motion that all those with conflict of interest or possible involvement in these flood control projects inhibit themselves from the investigation. It was duly seconded by the Honorable Laila de Lima and the Honorable Santos. Maybe, Mr. Chair, may we get your ruling on the motion?
A point of clarification, Mr. Chair. The motion pertains to making a full disclosure of such business, financial, or pecuniary interest. It does not yet state about inhibition. If after such disclosures are made, then perhaps we can speak about.
Yes, the motion is relating to the disclosure of members.
Yes, Your
On whether or not there exists a conflict of interest. It has been seconded. Are there objections to the motion? There is no objection. So the motion is carried.
Chair, just a clarification, having ruled on the motion already.
Congressman,
that the full disclosure will be obtained from each and every member. How do we go about it? Should it be a written disclosure? Just to be clear about it, there is a motion, duly approved, carried. Now, how do we implement that?
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn. To proceed, we'll have to get all closure of, and we cannot do that today.
Session suspended.
Alright, pinagtatalunan nila kasi yung motion ni Congressman Chel Jokno is to compel members to declare whether meron silang conflict of interest at arise para from there they will determine whether kailangan mag-inhibit. So nagiging problema nila dyan.
So how are they going to do
correct. Ano yung proseso ng will you come out in the open sa hearing na ito and say, "Hoy, may conflict of interest ako." Yun ang pinagtatalunan.
That's why si Congressman Erice said, i-adjourn muna.
Para pag-usapan
para
natin.
pag-usapan pa paano. Because even before pa magsimula itong infracom ng probe nila sa mga anomalous flood control projects, si Representative Laila de Lima and si Representative Chel Jokno ay nag-raise ng issue nila na hindi daw dapat ang House of Representatives ang nag-iimbestiga sa ganitong klaseng investigasyon sa mga flood control projects nga dahil nga daw may mga conflict of interest, may mga allegation na nagli-link doon sa iba pang mga congressman. So they are for independent body.
Pero
which is also naging statement din yan ni Representative Sandro Marcos.
Pero clarify naman ni Chel Jokno, hindi yan ang yung motion niya. Yung motion niya was to, for now now is to have those who are conflict of interest come out and state it na I have a conflict of interest and my name was mentioned. Siguro from there, magdi-decide sila whether magkakaroon ng independent body kasi kung masyadong madaming nadawit or ipag-inhibit yung mga nag-umamin para matuloy man lang yung hearing just like yung counterpart nila sa Senado.
Right. So, mamaya babalikan natin. I think we have our mobile journalist there sa House of Representatives.
Si Arles ba to? Si Arles.
To give us updates as well doon sa mga nangyari dyan ngayon. Nakakaumpisa pa lang Diba?
Kakaumpisa pa lang, hindi nag-umpisa.
Na-adjourn
Hindi pa naman. Pag suspended muna.
Suspended siya. Alright. Is Arles ready right now? Okay, hindi pa siya ready. But
ready,
anyway, malaking usapin talaga itong anomalous flood control projects. And over the weekend, nakita nga natin yung malaking pagbabago din sa liderato ng DPWH.
Correct.
Which is pinalitan nga ni Secretary Vince Dizon, si Secretary Manny Bonoan sa DPWH. This is right after, a day after, nagkaroon ng press conference si Secretary Bonoan at that time, saying na hindi siya magre-resign and he still serves at the pleasure of the President. And the next day nag-release ng statement na magkakaroon o buo siya ng parang fact-finding committee or investigating body sa loob ng DPWH, which ang dami rin na nagtanong na bakit mismong DPWH ang mag-iimbestiga sa mga sarili nila. Tapusin ko lang to. And that time, biglang nung Sunday din, in-appoint na nga itong si Secretary Vince Dizon. Okay, babalikan ko yung usapin na yan, but to give us an update, Diego?
Okay, to give us an update on what has been discussed sa TRICOM committee probe, we have mobile journalist Arles Los Santos. Arles, Go ahead. Well, nasuspend na yung hearing, not suspend, temporarily suspended. Ano ba ang nangyari so far? Ano yung balita mo on the ground?
Magandang umaga, Angela at Diego. No? Ngayong araw nga ang unang tri-committee, no, itong Infracom, kung saan titignan na nga ang bubusisiin ang naging mga proyekto ng DPWH patungkol sa mga maanumalyang flood control programs ng pamahalaan. Actually, ngayong araw, no, Angela at Diego, ang focus talaga dapat ay yung 15 na mga contractor na nabanggit at ginawan pa ng listahan ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sa mga nagdaang press conference at syempre yung kanyang paglilibot sa iba't ibang mga bahagi ng bansa kung saan nga kanya mismong nakita ang ilan sa maaari nating sabihin, no, substandard at ang iba pa ay ghost projects nga na meron pa nga nagkakahalaga ng mga 55 million pataas. At syempre ang mas nakakalungkot dyan ay ayon pa sa Pangulo, hindi talaga nanginginabang dito ang taong bayan at buhay ng ating mga kababayan ang syempre nakataya, lalo pa ngayon na tag-ulan. Kanina, no, dumating na dito nga si dating DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Kasama niya dyan syempre ang ngayong Undersecretary na si Binibining Maria Catalina Cabral ng Planning and Public-Private Partnership. Gayon din ang dating District Engineer ng Bulacan na si Henry Alcantara. Ngayon nga ay actually inaasahan natin ang patuloy na pagulong ng mga investigasyon na to. Pero mahalagang tignan din natin, no, Diego and Angela, bago tayo mag-proceed, syempre habang suspended pa ang hearing, no, ay yung panawagan nga na mag-inhibit ang mga congressman. Ayan ay dahil sinabi nga ni Senator Lacson na 67 na mga kongresista ang either may pagmamayari o may mga kapamilya na contractor mismo. At kahit online ay naging usap-usapan na rin kahit ang kanilang mga lifestyle. Kaya naman ito ay talagang patuloy daw na titignan dito sa Kamara ngayong araw.
Arles, may listahan ka ba sa Infracom kung sino sa Infracom ang kasama sa listahan ni Senator Panfilo Lacson na supposedly na na-link so far sa issue ng flood control projects?
Meron naman tayo, Diego, mga nakikita-kita online, no, na mga kasama daw doon sa listahan. Pero kasi ngayon, katulad nitong nasa hearing ngayon, ay kailangan pa daw ikumpirma at magkaroon ng full disclosure ang ating mga mambabatas para na rin siguro maiwasan ang conflict of interest na sinasabi nga. Kasi makikita natin na meron nga, di ba, andyan ang mga SunWestco at ang, syempre, yung iba pa na kung hindi naman daw ay pagmamayari yung mga contract company, yung mga na manpower and ito ay talagang meron daw na usapan daw na mga sinasabi. At syempre, ayun pa yung i-unlock ng committee na ito para mabigyan ng kasagutan ng publiko.
Arles, I was wondering, kasi we had Congressman Terry Redon here last week, siya ang leader ngayon dyan, sa chairman sa Infracom. And giniit nga niya, nakita niya, base sa kanyang mga investigasyon din and research, yung mga flood control projects na binisita recently ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, ay sabi niya, hindi daw yun mula sa mga congressional funds, but doon mismo sa NEP or National Expenditure Program ng Executive Department. So, I was wondering, how are they gonna tackle that now dito sa kanilang ongoing investigation?
Angela, nitong mga nakarang araw, actually hindi lang si Representative Redondo ang nagkaroon ng pahayag niyan. Actually, meron pa nga tayong ibang mga naitala, kagaya na lamang ng sa Marikina, na meron silang mga flood control programs o mga proyekto na natapos na nitong mga nakaraang taon pero nakapasok pa din sa National Expenditure Program. Ayon sa mga mambabatas na nakausap natin, ang DPWH daw kasi ang nag-a-assess, no, ng mga programa at mga pangangailangan ng mga distrito. Siyempre, meron na rin pakikipag-ugnayan dapat ito sa mga local government unit para ito ay mapondohan. Pero ayon nga sa ilang mga kongresista, nagugulat na lamang daw sila sa mga nagiging lamanin ng kanilang NEP kung saan, katulad ng kay Congressman Marcy Chodoro ng Marikina, no, natapos na daw, pero meron pa rin program. Kay Representative Puno naman, yung mga priority sana nila ng mga request, no, pakikipag-ugnayan nila sa DPWH sa kanilang lugar, imbis na yun ang prioridad at binisita rin ng Pangulo, pero wala daw sa mga nakalista na budget sa NEP 2026.
Alright, so sa ngayon, Arles, abangers ka muna dyan, no? Kasi suspended yung House Infracom probe nila sa anomalous flood control project.
Sigurado, Angela, mahaba-haba pa ang araw natin na ito at marami pa tayong aabangan dahil wala pa tayong nakukumpirma na mga dumating na mula sa 15 contractors na isiniwalat ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. No? Pero sa pagulong ng mga araw at ng hearing na ito ay aasahan natin na makakuha ng kanilang mga mga tugon kung sila ay darating at syempre kung ano pa nga pa ang ating aasahan sa mga paparating pang mga Infracom hearing dito sa Kamara.
Clarify ko lang, no, Arles, si Wawaw Builders na medyong nag-trending kahapon, tsaka si Sara Diskaya, wala pa.
Sa ating impormasyon dito, Diego, ay wala pa naman so far, no? Pero patuloy natin yan kukumpirmahin at siguraduhin dahil alas 2 pa naman hanggang alas 3 ang simula ng plenaryo. So, pwede pa nating asahan ang kanilang pagdating sa mga susunod na oras.
Pero tama ba si former DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan is already in the vicinity?
Yes, nandito na siya. Dito na siya.
Alright, sige, we will get back to you, Arles, dun sa iba pang mangyayari dyan ngayon. For the meantime, maraming salamat. Mobile journalist Arles de los Santos.
So yan, temporarily suspended dahil nag-aaway pa sila kung paano magdi-disclose.
Yes. Balikan ko lang yung kinukwento ko sa'yo kanina. So, yun nga, na-appoint na si Secretary Vince Dizon bilang DPWH Secretary. At una sa mga ginawa niya ay yung sinabi nga niya na sinabi rin ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa kanya ay yung courtesy resignation ng mga tao doon. And they will try their best 30 to 60 days na mapunuan daw yung mga tao na mawawala doon sa mga magre-resign. And today din, sinabi niya, breaking yan earlier this morning sinabi din niya na bubuwagin na niya yung supposedly na investigating body na tinayo ni former DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan na mag-iimbestiga rin dun sa DPWH regarding this anomalous flood control projects. At sinasabi nga niya, isa lamang ang maaaring mag-imbestiga. Ito yung binubuo na Truth Commission ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos that will be composed of retired justices, people from the church.
May general ba dyan?
Yun ang di pa natin alam. Meron natin dito, check natin. Tapos, of course, yung mga sa youth.
Wala pa si General Torre dyan.
Church leaders, civil society, yun, retired justices. Yun.
Kasi di ba meron supposedly offer na hindi pa nila ma-disclose. Supposedly ko si General Torre. But also, pronouncement ni Secretary Dizon, before we move on, ang Secretary pronouncement niya na he's pushing for a lifetime ban for those proven, wala nang investigasyon. Sabi niya, kung basta proven na ghost project ang ginawa mo, lifetime ban ka. Blacklist ka sa paggawa ng projects with the DPWH. Let's see what he does as the days go on.
This is a big responsibility for Secretary Vince Dizon, and he will be dealing with deep-rooted system. Diba, sa DPWH. And tingnan natin kung anong magagawa na dyan for the meantime.
In the meantime, the House Committee on Games and Amusements is set to hold an organizational meeting on online gambling. For more details, we have mobile journalist Amy Atienza on the ground. Amy, what's happening?
Amy.
Yes, good morning, Angela, Diego. Nandito nga tayo ngayon sa House of Representatives kung saan naabangan natin yung magiging talakayan ng Committee on Games and Amusement Board.
Sabi nga, internet problem dyan sa area na yan, sa Quezon City, nandiyan sa Batasan. Because as we've said, magkakaroon nga ng organizational meeting on online gambling naman. So busy yung ating mga congressmen.
Alright, Amy, go ahead.
Angela, Diego, sana okay na yung internet, pero ngayon nga, abangan din natin ang magiging talakayan ng Committee on Games and Amusement patungkol naman sa online gambling.
Alright, we'll try to fix our signal with Amy. Medyo choppy kasi sayang naman ang balita if we can't get it clearly. But in the meantime, don't go away because we're not done yet. Please do stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. The Senate Finance Committee continues its hearing on the proposed 2026 budget. Let's get the latest from mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Merimon, what's happening?
Good morning sa inyo. Simula pa lang nung ikalawang budget briefing dito sa Senado na pinangungunahan ng Senate Committee on Finance kung saan ibinahagi ng Department of Budget and Management na itong 2026 National Expenditures Program amounting to 6.793 trillion ay nakaangkla doon sa huling sona ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na dapat ipaprioritize nito ang human capital development. And so far sa mga naipipresenta, yung priority sectors dito kabilang ang social services amounting to 2.324 trillion pesos, Para naman sa healthcare, 331.4 billion. And for the Social Security Welfare Development is 295.8 billion pesos. Pero kanina bago magsimula itong kanilang budget briefing, nakausap din natin si Department of Finance Secretary Ralph G. Recto at ibinahagi niya na itong mga issue na umiikot sa mga maanumalyang flood control projects sa bansa ay maaaring maapektuhan daw talaga ang investor confidence. Kaya nais nila na sa pamamagitan daw nitong budget briefing, sa isasagawang investigation, lalong-lalo na raw ng independent commission na binubuo ng ehekutibo ngayon, ay sana na raw matuldukan ang mga ito. And so far, question ng ilang mga senador sa komite, itong tinanong nila sa DBM kung paano nga ba nagkakaroon ng insertion na doon sa budget. Ang sinabi naman dito ni DBM Secretary Amina Pangandaman is nakausap niya na actually raw si bagong appointed DPW Secretary Vince Dizon para raw silipin kung ano nga bang computation ang ginagawa ng DPWH para raw maipasok ang mga ito. And so far, ang tinatalakay nila ngayon is ano raw yung dapat gawin kung sakaling tatanggalin sa NEP or doon sa budget yung makikita nilang pare-parehong project na pare-pareho rin yung budget allocation. Kasi naibahagi din ni Chairman ni Senate Committee Chairman Sherwin Gatchalian na ayaw niya pang i-mention in specific pero nakita na raw nila o naobserbahan nila na may mga project daw na nakalista dito sa NEP na pare-pareho daw yung amount o kaya naman daw may nakalista raw na projects na tapos na noong 2025 pero nakalista pa rin for the 2026 budget. So ito yung kailangan daw nilang silipin at tugisin sa mga susunod na linggo. Balik sa inyo. Oo,
kasi 'di ba Mary Mon, dapat kasi sa side pa lang ng DBM natanggal na nila yung pagbubuo ng NEP para doon sa mga supposedly mga dubious flood control projects hindi na umabot sa ganito. So nakikita rin ba nila yung kumbaga yung pagkakamali nila in that area?
Ang nasabi dito ni Secretary Pangandaman is tinitingnan daw nila ngayon, mas binubusisi nila itong pagkakabuo nga ng NEP. And so far, ayaw pa nilang magsabi dahil maaga pa nga raw masyado dahil ngayon nga mas naging mainit yung issue tungkol dito. Pero may mangilan-ngilan ng mga senador ang nagpapahiwatig muli ng kanilang mungkahi. Halimbawa sa Senator Bam Aquino, sinabi niya na itong 270 billion pesos na allotted budget supposedly for flood control projects, kung hindi raw talaga ito magagamit para lalo-lalo na sa flood-prone areas, sana tanggalin na lang daw, masasuggest raw, buwagin na lang ito at gamitin na lang daw sa ibang mga sektor, tulad na lang daw sa education kung saan matutulungan daw nitong budget na to mapondohan yung kakulangan sa classroom, subsidies para sa mga guro, and yung iba pang mga issue na kinakaharap ng iba pang mga sektor. Angela?
Kasi if I'm not mistaken also, sinasabi nila dito sa NEP na to, may mga flood control projects na sinubmit ang DPWH na supposedly tapos na, completed projects na. At nalaman nila yan through Congressman Marcy Teodoro, doon sa sinusoli niya yung budget kasi sabi niya, etong mga areas na to, tapos na to.
Binigyan siya ulit.
Oo, 'di ba? Ano ang paliwanag ng DPWH diyan? Diba?
So far, Angela, actually kasabay din yan, nilaunch na rin kahapon ng Senado yung kanilang Budget Transparency Portal. And accessible na dito simula kahapon until sa mga susunod na taon na rin, lahat ng mga dokumento, budget briefings, mga transcripts, even yung mga live stream ng lahat ng may kinalaman patungkol dito sa national budget. Kasi nga nasabi nga rin na Senator Sherwin, nakita na nga nila, may mga nakalista raw na supposedly completed projects na taong 2025 pero nakalagay pa rin for the 2026 budget. So plano rin nila na mapasimple yung pagpepresenta rin itong mga datos sa publiko sa pamamagitan din daw yan doon sa kanilang efforts for transparency. Balik sa inyo.
All right, thank you. That was mobile journalist Mary Mon Reyes reporting live from the Senate.
The House Committee on Higher and Technical Education held its first organizational meeting in the 20th Congress. The details in this report by mobile journalist Arles de los Santos.
Despite being a right, the tertiary education continues to face impediments in the country. That is the initial finding in the first organizational meeting conducted by the House of Representatives Committee on Higher and Technical Education on Monday. Citing the 2021 to 2022 data from the Commission on Higher Education or CHED, Committee Chairman Jude Asidre sounded the alarm on the number of dropouts in the country despite the government's free tuition programs. That was echoed by CHED Chairperson Shirley Agrupis in their presentation, where they pointed out that out of 100 senior high school graduates, about 71 of them enter college and only 45 students, or 62.80%, finish college, and the remaining 29.39% fall under attrition rate.
There is a fragmentation of our education system, and because of this fragmentation, we cannot get the maximum impact of government investment in education. Number two is the digitalization. We do not have a centralized data collecting system, so that we can harness the technology of digitalization. Then we can really deliver our mandate in a very timely manner.
What also worsens these problems is the absence of centralized data by CHED that hampers the Commission's capability to monitor and act on the issue, citing lack of manpower and budget constraints. It can be recalled that as of June 2025, the unemployment number of Filipinos is at 1.95 million individuals, and of the figure, 38.2% has been contributed by college graduates. CHED assured the members of the 20th Congress that these challenges are being addressed through granular strategic programs and initiatives to align with the long-term vision of Ambisyon 2040. Committee Chairperson Jude Asidre expressed the commitment of the 20th Congress in addressing these concerns, where on the same day in his privileged speech, pushed for the automatic eligibility of SHS graduates from families under Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program or 4Ps to tertiary education subsidy.
Isa sa pinakamahalaga nating kailangan pag-aralan ay ang financing mechanism na meron tayo. Paano natin maisigurado na yung pinaka nangangailangan ng educational assistance ang siyang matutugunan ng ating mga programa ng ating gobyerno.
Mobile Journal Arles de los Santos, we are One News.
Alright, ang daming nangyayari today. We have the House, the hearing sa Senado about the budget, no? National Expenditure Program, and other issues. Then we also have sa lower house, Infracom probe na nasuspend temporarily because they're trying to sort out paano nila magkakaroon ng declaration na may conflict of interest before they ask people to inhibit. Then we also have
the ongoing search raid ng BOC sa compound ng mga Discayas.
And we also have online gambling hearings sa lower. So we have 4 simultaneous events happening today. Now you can continue to monitor all of that sa One News page natin. Nandun naman lahat yan. Oo. But yun, it's an eventful Tuesday morning. Thank you for joining us once again. And for now, that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Wala kang pa-quote?
Ito, quote ko. Dami nangyari, nahilo ako eh. So, wag mo na paalala sa mga bossing na hindi ko nabigay quote. Galing mo talaga eh.
Pero ang importante, dapat at the end of the day, meron talagang ma-hold accountable dito sa mga pangyayari na ito. Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.